We should do a hero pose for the thumbnail. Go like this.
You're a robot.
Ah, boy chic or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
So I started recording.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hello and welcome to our show. This is Up and Over with Celeste and Francesca.
Yes, recently
yes.
named.
Yes, recently named, recently started. This is yes, depth psychology podcast show. Thing.
Yes.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about hero functions and our hero functions. So first, like, what's a hero? What do you know about the hero, Francesca?
Well, what I know about the hero function is it's basically the way that our consciousness likes to operate, like, on most frequently, and is the easiest function for our brain to use. And it's kind of like, it is like the hero. It's what we turn to. Oh, you took a snapshot.
I didn't mean to. I thought I was making it.
Yeah, and it's like the way that you it come up on the screen.
Is it funny?
It was a funny one. It was me going like this. Yeah, so it is like the hero's path or the hero's journey, and the way that we go about that, and what function that we use. But it also, because it's so positive and it's the way that we like, it's what we like to go about the most in life. Sorry, I'm so tired today. Oh my God.
It's okay. You don't look tired, so it's all good.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, and it's because what we like to go about and use the most, it also can be a little bit blind, which is why we end up having the nemesis there, which is actually a good thing, and that's the shadow side to the hero. And what do you have to say about that, Celeste?
All right, so I'm just going to speak very stereotypically because that's kind of how archetypes are. This is the hero, flies around and saves the world, but makes a mess along the way. So kind of the same thing, like, about exactly what you were talking about, actually. So like the hero is very powerful and like saves the day, but on the way to saving the day, messes up a lot of other stuff. So that the hero function is actually like we don't even notice that we're using it, but we actually use it constantly.
Yes, exactly. That's why it can be so blind, because it's just that, like, it's the highest level of cognition and processing or awareness that we put energy into, I think. And I think that's why, like, it comes so naturally that it never even needs to be questioned, usually. Like, you don't want to question it, or you don't think you even need to, because you're just doing it on default.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically it. So, I mean, I guess that's the first part. We can move on to the second part now. Francesca's hero is
introverted intuition.
Yes, introverted intuition. Yeah. Okay, so let's do it this way. I'll say what introverted intuition hero is supposed to be like, and you give me your experience, and then when we do mine, we'll do it the opposite way.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So introverted intuition is like so hard to explain. Both intuitive functions are hard to explain. But introverted intuition hero, what I've learned is it's just like you know exactly what you want and where you want to go in the future, and like probably like the best path forward for you to get where you want to go. Since there's multiple ways, but like
yeah. And this is something that I didn't relate to necessarily about introverted intuition, because, okay, so obviously, you know my path with thinking that I was an ENTP. I saw this thing that apparently it is quite common for INFJs to type as INTP or ENTP, and they appear a lot more NTP than any of the F types, I guess. But like when I did type as an ENTP, I was really, really relating to NE as a hero because I thought that I saw all the possibilities, but I don't think it was anything natural. And this is where, when I started learning more about typology, that things just weren't adding up, because I was like, well, when I was younger, I was so focused. I was so like into everything. And I remember a description of any being that you give everyone what they want, you're easily taken off your path. So even though I had changed courses many times, right, and I'd done different things, like I have started 3 university degrees. I started with psychology, then I did literature, and then I did Chinese medicine. So, and I didn't finish any of them, because what happened each time was, like, I thought it was NE and that I was branching out to see other possibilities, but it was always actually NI leading me back to the correct path. And the NE was developed probably from being in my shadow due to like antidepressants. Obviously, at the time, I was only ever looking up the functions of the ENTP. So like, when you see that you have NE, even if you're an NI DOM, and you think that you'd have NE, all NI DOMs are going to say, I can see all the possibilities, because they can. It's just usually that they'll stay like forward on one course, right? So now that I've put everything together, going back into my childhood and seeing like how I was and understanding how I've been in my shadow, and then I'm actually an INFJ, for me, how I personally think that I experience introverted intuition is that it's like my main focus is my life path. It always has been. It's always about my life goal. It's always about what I'm working towards. And that was at one stage enlightenment. And like the NI was so laser focused and had so much willpower that I actually did have a spiritual experience, because I could will it in my body. And so that's how I really think that I experience it now. And like just being truthful and genuine at all times so I can attract the right people. And now that I look at it too, I never related to the NE hero, which was that you give everyone else what they want, and that you play around with other people's futures, because I've always just really cared about mine, and also being worried about my future. I've never worried about any, like, I'm pretty lucky. Like, I've had hard times, like, emotionally, and I've gone through really weird things, but I think introverted intuition as a hero is very lucky, and you get out of many dangerous situations. And, like, that's why, like, no one's ever really betrayed me. It's almost like my intuition kicks in and, like, is able to end it somehow. And I have a pretty positive view of my future. Like, I've always had a good feeling about it, you know? I think that's how I relate to it the most.
Yeah, and I've always felt good about everybody else's future.
So even though I love giving people a good experience, I never really play around with people's fates. Actually, I have a huge issue with that myself personally, because my whole main goal is to try and teach people, I think, about introverted intuition, and I never even realized it. My whole life I've been espousing to people, what do you want to do within? What do you want to achieve? Like, what is true? Is this want that you want? Is it really yours, or is it your mother's? Is it your father's? Yeah, I want people to know what is their true, like, purpose, because I feel that if they don't, they'll just get led astray, and they need to know that. And that's why I won't play around too much, even when I give advice to people, if it could alter their course, because I try and figure out what their course is. So this is what's going to be good for you. So you're an NE hero. And the NE...
I'm here to save your future, and so are you. That makes it awesome.
Yeah. So you have extroverted intuition, which means that you are very, like, your intuition is more spread outwards in regards to like the world, the patterns, the people. And obviously I relate to that too. I see it all as, and like gather in anything that I need to like be on path. But yeah, that's you. Like, you can see everything, you understand the people, the patterns, and like the ultimate term would be even like fate weaver in a sense. And with extroverted intuition, it's kind of hard to know necessarily what you want or what your life path is. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how you experience being an NE dom?
Yeah, honestly, like, I mean, any hero is pretty. I love it and I hate it because I don't hate
I
the
love
hero
it.
function by itself. Yeah. The thing that sucks about, well, I guess we can talk about that later, but just any hero by itself is really fun. I feel like I just have fun all the time, even if I'm not having fun,
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can always distract myself or just completely make believe in my head at any moment. So I really don't get bored ever.
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
get. Um, but the thing is, uh, I have had that thing growing up where I just do what everybody else wants, and I come to this point where it's like, wait, everything that's happened to me has been because of everybody else. you know, like
Wow.
um, like everything that I thought I wanted for my future is because people told me you should do this, or it would be cool for me if you did this type of thing. And so I turned
Wow.
like, yeah, so I turned,
Completely opposite to me. That would be my worst nightmare, like
yeah.
doing what other people wanted. I think it's good to line up with people that want the same things as me so we both win-win. But yeah.
Yeah, me too, but it's like I'm so used to everybody else being like me, and I'm like, yeah, you, because I do get excited about other people's futures, especially if they have a lot of potential, and
Yep.
I do feel like I'm saving the day a lot of the time when I'm like getting people motivated for their futures and like helping them realize that they can do the things they don't think they can do and stuff like that. But it's like it comes to a point where like you need to integrate your shadow, right? So I'm like, I need
Yeah.
to let myself want something or else my entire life is gonna go to shit, pretty much. So
Well, that's I guess that's
okay, hold that thought. Don't forget. Don't forget with your SI demon. Oh my gosh. Is it going now? Okay. Today's just a glitchy
yeah.
day. Hair flip.
Um, yeah, I'm out of data at the moment, so I have to use the normal internet, which could be perhaps slow.
If that works better, it works better. Maybe I can get a picture of like a hero flying and put it as the thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, it's working now.
Okay, cool. You're still quite slow for me, so I'll see how I go. But I
Okay.
was saying that, yeah, you with extroverted intuition, it's kind of hard for you to be so optimistic about your future, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's good for you to have introverted intuition around because it will help you integrate your shadow. And I think like now you do. Now you have me and you have an ENTJ and you have some other, do you have any other NI, like heavy NI users around?
Um, there is Heisenberg, but we
Uh-huh.
we don't talk that much. But I can't tell if he thinks that I hate him or not. I'm
Oh.
I've been
Uh.
I've been doing that ENTP thing where you be mean to be funny. I don't know if he thinks I'm serious or not, but
Oh, right. Yeah.
we'll see. He
Usually
pretends
I,
to be hurt to be funny, so.
okay, yes. Oh. Yeah, so that's why I guess um, maybe we could talk about the yin yang of extroverted intuition and introverted intuition and which
Yeah,
one's
I guess how
yang.
it works with like the two of us,
Uh-huh.
like our podcast, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this in the last video a little bit, but basically, Francesca has this thing she wants to do, and it just so happens that my shadow wants to do something very similar, and we just run it together. And she's like, "Hey, help me do this thing," and I'm like, "Yes, please help me do anything because I can't do anything by myself." It's like this. It's like this train going, and then she's like, "Come on, hop on," and I'm like, "Yay! Someone actually let me hop on."
Aww. That's amazing. Yeah, and this is what I'm pretty good at with now is that like keeping people around that generally do want to hop on the train and also making people aware that the course could change at any moment depending on what I'm feeling intuitively because I don't know, it's the worst thing imaginable for me to think that someone else would have control over my fate and I wasn't listening to myself, or I realized that I was just being controlled. So like I have to change course if I have to. I have to follow that intuition. And it's really interesting that when I thought I was an NE dom, it was just so funny that my partner would always just say, my ex-partner would always just say, you always do what you want. It's always what you want. And I'm like, well, and I'm like, look, I'm trying my best to facilitate both of us and like mirror you and be what you need. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to become unhappy and it's not going to work anyway if I don't follow my intuition. And I need to do that. So it's important for me to have people around me that at least appreciate that or understand it, because a lot of people, like particularly SI DOMs, they don't understand like living, like maybe we don't understand them either, but they don't understand how like living from your intuition is such an important thing if you're an intuitive DOM, because it's just, there's really no other way. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if your partner doesn't respect like your goals in life, like for your life, that they don't, that's not a life partner, man.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Like even if you're at any dom and like they don't like your like NI nemesis goals, it's still like, are we really a team type thing? So yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. So the yin and yang, let's draw a diagram because I feel like people don't all know. And I think I can actually draw this time.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
All right. So the yin, which color is the yin, Francesca?
Yin is usually black. It symbolizes like the night, the earth, female archetype, heaviness, water.
All right. So
that's technically, the yin is technically NE and the yang is NI. So NI is more like associated with the formless and self-actualization from within. Even like if we're comparing NI to the archetype of Jesus and the devil, NI is more associated with like God and NE is more associated with the devil. Not that we'll label either one of those good or bad. NE is dealing with other people's futures, so it's very grounded. It's very caught up in that particular cycle of the earth. It's more yin because it needs to absorb the NI. The NI is the generator of the intuition, so that's why it is more yang. If we look at the archetype of male and female, technically like the male is the provider, right, and then the woman will receive. It's the same with the night and the day, so like the sun is the giver of life to everything, so it's the yang.
Is this in Chinese medicine at all?
Yeah, that's Chinese medicine as well, but it all links up with the functions too. So that's why basically NE wants to orbit around NI and absorb as much NI as possible so they can generate that within. So that is why like our dominant functions being NE and NI means we basically complete each other in yin and yang with our top two functions.
Yeah, so like yin and yang, man. I feel like I'm being pegged as like this bad guy. Here we go.
The problem is that it's an archetype and people would see one as good as and bad, but it's not. Like everything is just a cycle. Like for example, within the yin, it contains the seed of yang. So this is basically how our intuitions are working together with the introverted intuition and extroverted intuition. And basically we have the seed of the shadow in our mind, which is what is opposite to us.
Yes. So the thing is, if you have NE hero, you automatically have NI nemesis and vice versa. So even though you have mostly one of them, you still have a little bit of the other one in inverse ways. So it's still like kind of works kind of like that. if you can tell. Like that's not the correct graph or the way people normally say, is it?
Okay. No, yeah, that looks fine. Because it could be either way. Nice.
Yeah. So
love it.
If some kind of people don't normally draw it like that, but if it helps, it helps.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this happens with all the functions though, not just intuition. Like you can have SE hero and SI hero and all that jazz. But yeah.
Yeah. So technically, I was even thinking about this like as soon as I started learning about the functions, just because I did study Chinese medicine and I have this ability to like break everything down into whether or not yeah,
Hello?
completely it all merges together.
Okay. Oh, okay.
At least our pictures are there and they're kind of cute pictures while we talk. So
right.
Yeah, so basically, if you think about it, all of the introverted functions are more yang. And it's interesting because most people would think an introverted function would be associated more with yin, like or quiet or female or subdued. But actually, the introverted functions are yang because they're generators. So,
All of
like,
them?
TI is a generator. I think so. Let's think about it. So, I think anything that's generated within, like TI, if you're generating the thoughts, that's yang. And then the TE is a thought absorber. So, even though it seems like extroversion of a thought would be more yang, it's not, because the extroverted thinkers like draw in the introverted thinking. So, I think that's, yeah. Let's try and think of there any, yeah, like
I think the thing is with dichotomies like that, they don't always fall along the same plane. So
Yes, that's true.
it can be very subjective when you try to connect dualities to other dualities because they don't always perfectly line up.
Yes,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true. We should definitely do a talk about that one time.
Yeah. So like some it depends who you ask. Some people would probably say that the FE and FI were both like, I mean, see, I don't even have an opinion on this because there's so many ways to look at it. My NE is just NE or FI and FE could be seen as both like the female or the feminine ones for Western society, I guess. But like so is NE and NI when you think of it that way. But if you think of it as like giving and receiving,
Yes.
you could do all the introverted are female. Is that what you said?
No, all the introverted are actually the yang, so the generators of everything. So that's specifically what I'm referring to. I think if we try to like go from, as I've said, like if we did think about it from different like perspectives, then you could say, oh, any kind of F function is more yin, right? Because technically that's more like related to the female archetype for sure. But I'm talking in terms of like here as in what is the generator of the energy, and that is what is the yang. Yeah, because the introverted functions generate that energy, right? Whereas the extroverted functions draw it in.
Yeah, so the yin and yang I guess is not as sexist as it first appears.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like that's the thing. Like anyone, when you go down to it and you understand what's really going on, it's not really sexist. It's just labeling things kind of the way that they are. But then it's also very important to see past the labels and not hold on to those.
Yes, very much so. And like I was saying before, if there's a thing to talk about with dichotomies, it's or how to draw what I was talking about. It's like here's good and evil, right? But here's true and false. And then here is like right, or I already did good and evil and right and wrong, whatever. Okay, but there's another duality. There's female, male, they're not all going this way.
Yeah.
So everything's a here and everything's here. You can't sort it out like that all the time. So
yeah,
that's the problem with dualities. I mean, we could probably do a whole video on dualities one day, but
We will. We can discuss all these different points in regards to it.
Yes. But I guess in conclusion of our, I mean, it was kind of short today. I don't know. In conclusion, we would like to post on Thursdays. So there's that. Like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe to Francesca's YouTube channel too, because she does her own videos. And
my own videos.
Stay tuned, because we'll be going through the parent, the child, and the inferior, and maybe the shadow functions as well, depending on if you guys want that. So
I would love that. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you have any comments, questions, or queries, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Celeste and I would be happy to reply to you. If you want to see any particular, I don't know, video from us talking about anything in terms of typology, Celeste and I really want to go up and over with this, right? So we want to talk about seeing archetypes from above and understanding them, so we can kind of like release ourselves from them. So if anyone's interested in more of those kinds of topics and any archetypes in particular and any philosophical topics, let us know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon next Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop recording.